Thank you. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. It's an honor to moderate this panel. As a journalist covering energy and finance, I've been following Romania's renewable journey for years, and it's inspiring to see how much progress has been made. Yet there's still room to make investments easier and the market more predictable. I'm especially glad to have with us such experienced professionals to share what's working, what still needs to improve, and how we can keep this progress going. Before we begin the discussion, I'd like to invite each of our panelists to briefly introduce their companies and their current projects in Romania. Ladies first, Lăcrămioara, please.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation, for this great opportunity. I'll try to be very brief. So I'm today representing OX2. This is a Swedish company present in Romania since 2021. So what is OX2 about? It is about renewable energy that comes from wind, comes from PV, from sun. It's stored in batteries, and essentially this is of course, our business model. We're present in several countries in Europe, Nordic countries, obviously, Sweden, Finland, Poland, Italy, Romania, and Australia. So this is our footprint. We typically take projects from day one, from scratch, and grow them into projects that can be built. We're building them, operating them. While doing so, we also structure all the agreements that are necessary for these projects to become a reality. We've done across many, the 20 years since the company exists and it started obviously in Sweden. We've built 5,000 megawatts, and these were taken over by our investors. So we have attracted investors from various jurisdictions and various types of investors, such as Allianz, and where we partnered with Google. We also attract not only investors, but also important clients or customers for the electricity that is produced by our projects, by the assets we build and operate. And we've attracted Google as a customer, or Apple for that matter. And you may have seen the news yesterday, the fact that for a Romanian project, we've actually partnered with Apple to offtake the electricity in a virtual PPA. I will skip maybe some of the slides to be able to present to you all the important details. One of the key elements in our strategy, and this is a new thing, is not only that we attract investors for our assets, but starting this year, since we have a new shareholder, and this is EQT, a very, very large private equity fund, we have now become a hybrid IPP, or an independent power producer, meaning that some of the projects we develop and construct and operate stay with us. They are not taken over or sold to investors. They are simply kept by OX2. So we will have a hybrid IPP, a mixture of projects that are sold or kept by OX2. We've started in Finland this year already with 700 megawatts in wind, and now we continue that with Poland, Italy, and will come to Romania in the near future. Of course, we are sustainable by design. Not only that, we support the green power shift to shift to green energy in a mid and long term in Europe and in all the countries especially in the countries we operate. But we also take care of the value chain. So what happens with our projects, with our suppliers, where we take the equipment from, what happens during the construction. During the construction, we obviously engage with the communities. So we're making sure that our projects do not harm nature or have a very, very limited impact with solutions around those challenges. Everything what we do is beyond what the legal requirements ask us to do. We typically follow the most stringent, various requirements of the international financing corporations, such IFC, equatorial principles, which go beyond and above the requirements of legal jurisdiction in Romania or in any other country. Very briefly, on Romania and our presence here. So as I said, we are in Romania since 2021. We have built in a very short time a portfolio of more than 1 gigawatt of wind, especially assets and projects, and some PV and BESS. This is actually one of the largest or the fastest developments in the group. So we have, in just 4 years, become not only a very significant one of the leading companies in the energy sector in Romania for renewables, having 2 projects in construction, 200 megawatts each, 100 megawatts each, in total 200, sorry. And we are the only one building 2 wind farms in parallel, and this is in Galați County. And at the same time, we are ready to start construction every year, at least 100 to 300 megawatts, which is quite sizable, given that in total in Romania, we expect to have build out of 400 or 500 megawatts a year. So we're actually going to play a very significant role to have a significant market share in Romania, about 20-30%, where we are actually now, and we expect this to continue. And to continue on that, actually, next year we're expecting to bring to construction another 2 projects, one of 300 megawatts and one of 77 megawatts. So that this is actually our footprint. I was looking for the map earlier, but it's on a separate slide. So as you can see, we follow the wind, we follow the availability of the best wind in Romania, which is alongside the southeastern part of the country. Everybody, of course, knows about Constanța, but there is actually excellent winds in Galați, Brăila, Vaslui, and even Botoșani. Yeah, so this is where we are, trying to maximize, obviously, the excellent potential that Romania has when it comes to wind in particular. This is just to highlight, the joy of bringing one project to construction. So this was the first project to bring to construction last year in Galați County, after the transaction with Nala Renewables, which is a very big investment fund. So this was when we had the groundbreaking ceremony, and we also had actually the pleasure of having Madam Ambassador with us. Thank you very much again for your presence. Yeah, so it is a nice memory, but it's also to show that we are building, not just gathering projects and papers around the project on a list. We have actually good track record to show that we can make things happen. This is from the second project, just a few elements. The second project is now starting construction again in Galați County, and will be ready. Both projects will be ready to produce electricity. The first one in 2026, and the second one in 2027. Thank you very much. This was my very brief presentation of our company.
Thank you, Lăcrămioara. And now, Gheorghe, Ilisei.
Hello, hi. Thanks for having us, and thanks for organizing such a great event. I'm Gheorghe Ilisei, and I'm a civil and renewable energy engineer, having experience in developing and implementation of infrastructure projects and energy projects across both the public and private sector. I'm a part of EMERGY since 2020, and I was contributing to EMERGY's access entry to the Romanian wind market back in 2021. And I'm currently appointed as Vice President, Head of Regional Area Development, and the Project Director of the Romania portfolio. I will continue with a brief presentation about the company. In short, we are a Norwegian-Swedish group developing renewable projects, mostly wind, in southeastern part of Europe. We have an international experience in developing wind power plants since 2004. In 2010, we obtained a COD for a portfolio in China, and then gradually we moved to the southeastern Europe. You can see the countries in blue, where Romania is playing a key role. At the moment, we have a solid footprint in southeastern Europe, developing 2.6 gigawatts in Ukraine, Romania, Serbia, and Greece. And we have a strong ambition to develop 450 megawatt per year in the countries marked in blue and light blue. And in addition to that, we have a strong cooperation with different authorities. Maybe important to be mentioned is that we secured the grant of 30 million NOK with our partners NORAD, and we started in the second part of 2024 to develop a wind project in western Ukraine. I will move now a bit to the activity in Romania. So we entered the market, the second renewable wave, quite early in 2020 by acquiring a portfolio from Siemens Gamesa in 2021, a brownfield one that was initially developed in the first wave. Then we built the teams and we started to redevelop the portfolio with new turbine technology. And at the moment we have two great teams sitting in Constanța and in Bucharest, and together we are developing 5 wind power plants in southeastern part of Romania, in Constanța and Brăila counties. And moreover, we play a pivotal role in companies' development plans, striving to become a regional hub to develop the soon-to-be projects within Romania, but also other markets, neighboring markets. I will move now to a bit more visual overview. So this is our portfolio. We have a strategic location, especially for the first portfolio, the turbines in white. We are located 20 kilometers away from Constanța Harbor, which you might know that is the deepest harbor on the Black Sea and the potential soon to be declared hydrogen hub. We are also quite close to Transelectrica infrastructure and to also other big infrastructure projects that you can see on the map. We aim to develop wind power projects in areas with best available wind resources in Romania, having into consideration all the international environmental and social standards. In addition, we strive to contributing to the community development in areas where we have projects, and we have a strong collaboration with different energy stakeholders like Transelectrica and others to contribute to the grid improvement and grid strengthening. And trying to be short, I will spend my last 2 minutes on something different from our core expertise, which is wind power development. And I will focus a bit on our activity that we are doing on the green hydrogen. We are putting a lot of focus in our wind project development and other renewable project development on the offtake. It's critical, for instance, as Lăcrămioara mentioned, to have a solid offtake strategy. I personally believe that One of the best use of the green electricity is in producing green hydrogen. You can produce green hydrogen if you're going to do water electrolysis using renewable power. And that's why, for instance, we started to create a team and a task force in Romania, gaining knowledge in 2022. And we signed a partnership with Lund, the German gas producer, in 2022. And since then, we explored different prospects. We are now looking on a green hydrogen project located also in the southeastern area that would produce 20-25 kilotons of green hydrogen per year. And in addition to that, we started to look into the green ammonia. And together with Linde and support from Innovation Norway, we started the project last year when we explored the potential use of green ammonia with market experts and leaders. And we identified that the best use of the green ammonia at the moment would be, for instance, in agriculture, green ammonia to be used as green fertilizers. And as an end note, we also did, during this project, a community assessment needs to identify exactly what are the community needs in the area where we are putting together wind power projects together with green hydrogen. And this highlights, I guess, our company commitment to contribute to the energy transition in a more inclusive and community-driven, both in our wind power project developments, but also in other areas that we are exploring, like green hydrogen and green ammonia. And yeah, this is all from our side in a nutshell. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
First of all, a pleasure to be here. At Scatec, we are very dedicated to our vision, which is improving our future. We deliver cheap, green, renewable energy to protect the environment and accelerate the green transition. Scatec, there we are. Scatec is a leading renewable energy solution provider. We're founded in Norway. We develop, build, own, and operate renewable assets globally. We have over 6 gigawatts of renewable energy operational and under construction. And as we speak, over 2 gigawatts of PV and BESS is being constructed globally. We're also present in Europe. We have operating assets in Ukraine, in the Czech Republic, and currently developing projects in Poland and Romania. And later this year, we will start constructing our first PV plant in Romania, 190 megawatts, on the back of the successful CFD auction last year. And Scatec, we are here to stay. When we enter a new market, we do it on a long-term basis. We own and operate long-term and take pride in that and helping to create jobs, work together with partners, with host governments and other parties. So I want to talk a bit about the theme of this panel, which is lessons from Northern Europe and how to accelerate the green transition here in Romania. And even though we don't have any operating assets in the Nordics, we have Nordic roots and values and a global expertise that we believe is our main export value coming in here. And speaking of values, I had an interview yesterday where the candidate said, I really want to work in a Nordic company, which obviously made me very happy, but it's good to see that people resonate with our values and our way of working also here in Romania. Then over to our lessons and what we believe we bring to Romania and the markets we are in. First of all, it's our business model. We have an integrated business model, which means we develop, construct, build, and own these assets for the long term, which enables us to take a holistic view of the investments and projects we do in a country. We're able to optimize the projects, work closely together with advisors, banks, governments, and so on to make sure that these projects work not only for us as an investor and IPP, but also for the community itself. The second one is navigating complex markets. And by that, I'm not meaning that Romania is particularly difficult. I'm just saying that doing renewable energy in markets is inherently challenging with a lot of different stakeholders. And we've been doing that for a long time across different markets, and believe we know how to bring the right stakeholders on board and how to realize and make projects bankable and financially attractive for us, for partners, and for the society as a whole. The third one is our social license to operate, and this needs to be a just transition. And with this, I mean that we take ENS very seriously. It means that when we do our projects, it's not only about financial gains, it's about contributing to the communities, creating jobs, making sure that all stakeholders believe this is a good idea. And last but not least, it's our technology and innovation, where we bring our expertise from the rest of the world, say a gigawatt PV and BESS project we are doing elsewhere in Egypt, as an example, is being used today for a PV and BESS solution that we will apply in Romania. And then the last thing I want to talk about is key success factors. And this is based on what we have been doing in other countries, but also in Romania, that when we go into a market, we have very strict criteria for what we look for. And I've selected a few of them here, which I think is also of interest to host governments, to advisors, and others. And the first thing we look for is a clear energy transition agenda. So a host government and a society as a whole that delivers on targets that is being set out. The second one is a stable regulatory environment and an attractive climate for foreign investors. This is super important for all of us here. And last but not least, cooperation between private companies, between the government, banks, advisors, and DFIs. And just a couple of examples I want to bring up of our own success stories. One is in Egypt, where we're currently building one of the largest PV and BESS projects worldwide. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's one of the biggest, where this would not have been possible to do without very close cooperation between the government and the private sector to understand the right needs and what the private sector can deliver on. And the second one is South Africa, obviously far away from Romania, but they have consistently delivered on a clean energy auction they've been doing for years. And working there as a long-term player, we have been able to deliver what is needed in a country where there is blackouts on a weekly basis. We've been able to deliver cheap and green electricity to support the country. And I believe these three criteria is also super important for Romania. A lot of things is being done very well these days, but there is still a way to go on cooperation and making it an even more attractive climate for us as a private long-term IPP in Romania. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Ioannis from European Energy, please.
Hello. Thank you for having us. I am Ioannis Kalapodas. I am the head of office from Bucharest office of European Energy. We are a Danish origin multinational group of companies. We are acting here since 2021. And in my short presentation, I will try to introduce who we are and some updates from our experience in Denmark. So, we are founded in 2004. I'm sorry by turning. It's not working. It's not working. So today we are present in 25 countries. We are active in 6 different technologies. We have a pipeline of 65 gigawatt under development, approximately 1,100 projects all around the markets that we are active. We believe that we are an end-to-end value chain capability in our group. We have installed capacity approximately 2 gigas since 2021. 917 people are working. It is an impressive growth. I remember when I joined the group 2021, we were just 250. And we are 40 different nationalities. This is impressive. We have 3.5 gigawatt under asset management. Out of them, 1.3 it is our IPP. And in 2024, Mitsubishi Holding Capital became our partner in the group level. So these are the pillars, the technologies that we are active. It is PV, onshore, offshore wind, Power-to-X. We are among the front runners of this one. Recently, BESS and carbon capturing. Okay, so this is our business model. So we are engaged from very early stage up to the operations. We are screening, developing, constructing and operating projects. This is our global footprint with offices and activities, and this is quite impressive. It is our development activities. The flags is the countries that we are, and above the line, these are technologies we are developing in each of the countries that we are present. As you see, PV and onshore have it's the main core, but Power-to-X and carbon capturing and BESS are coming, following. This is our footprint in Romania since 2021. We are sitting on a 784 megawatt PV and wind projects. All of them are advancing quite fast. Sustainability, like all of us, we are working for the sustainability in every way, following the high standard of ESG, but also trying to be a very strong and important pillar on more than the green transition sustainability, but geopolitical safety and economic growth. This is our value of change in a sort of visual. So as you see, the energy mix in Denmark is quite stable, but we are expecting that still the consumption, it will be more than the local production. The important thing is that 88% of the produced energy in Denmark in 2024 is coming from renewable energy. And this states the commitment that the state has towards to what we call green transition. Waste to energy, another lesson to learn. It has a big contribution. We believe that biogas is a circular economy security supply and has a very important role. Romania has a very good potential, and it can play a very crucial parameter in order to secure and produce biogenic CO2, which is quite important material in order to go to the green fuels. This is the raw material mix. It covers all the biogenic in Denmark. And this is how a biogas project contributing to the end of the chain up to the production of Power-to-X. So Amon Gas, it is one of our sister companies since 2023. We are producing, we are engaged 50% of methanol, biomethane is produced in Denmark. Battery, BESS, it is the missing part in the technology. Not too many things to be said, but it has to be. And here it is our Power-to-X. We are proud this, what you see, it is the first utility scale e-methanol facility in globe, in Kassel. Denmark supports. Denmark aims to reach 4 to 6 giga of electrolyzers by 2030. There was a financing scheme quite in 2023, and the secret in order to implement successful Power-to-X projects is finance and offtake solution. So this is where we are quite active. We are mainly active in the e-methanol, which is the top, but bioethanol and biomethanol are products that they are going to play a very significant role in the energization of green energy wherever the electricity cannot reach, like heavy transportation, aviation. In-house, we have the technology, the capacity, and the experience from the very beginning to the very end, since we developed the project, even before the legislation in Denmark will be in place. We build, we design, and we operate the asset. This is a summary of what is the CASO, the first large utility-scale methanol facility, that our electrolyzer have capacity of 52.5 megawatts, and we are going to produce approximately 42,000 tons of e-methanol annually.
So let's start now our discussion with the big picture. What Romania is doing to attract investors and to accelerate renewables development. And I want to ask you, Mr. Buşoi, Romania's renewable potential is clear, but investors, as Henrik said earlier, often talk about the need for predictable support schemes and clearer market mechanisms. And I want to ask you, what are the current plans at the ministry level to ensure this stability?
Thank you once again, and thank you for the very interesting presentations. If I would prepare a presentation of the Minister of Energy, it would be far less interesting than the presentation of your project and also the things that you are doing in the Nordic countries, in Romania, and in the world. Indeed, we have, as I said, aligning our legislation and our policies to European Union tendencies. We are looking to the main recommendations from different European initiatives, and clearly we see renewable energy, as I said in my introductory remarks, also expressing the message from the Minister that investing in renewables is a top priority for Romania. As concrete support for different projects and initiatives, of course, I can list here the financing schemes that we developed with the support of European funds. First of all, in PNRR, the Romanian RRF program, Recovery and Resilience Facility, European Union facility, we co-funded with part of the CAPEX more than 250 initiatives, most of them, of course, not large projects like the projects that were presented here, but also important for deploying more rapidly the renewables. Then we had a similar scheme with two kinds of lines, more than over 5 megawatts and less than 5 megawatts, that are still under evaluation, as we currently manage more than 3,000 projects in the Ministry of Energy, and 40 people direction of investments that I also coordinate is not ready to manage in parallel more than 3,000 projects. So unfortunately, and we seek solutions to speed a little bit the process, we are still evaluating this modernization fund scheme, also to give funds, part of the investment for those appliances that will be eligible and will meet the budget threshold. Then we launched two successful, and at least one project was here mentioned as being part of contract for difference scheme. So we launched two sessions that were very well attended, and we considered to be successful. And we need to finalize the third one for wind. This is also supported by the modernization fund, and those investors who applied and won and will contract this scheme, of course, will have some predictability for the next 15 years. We'll continue periodically to launch similar schemes, and of course we are open to see what are the success stories in other European countries and what is the input from developers, investors, in order to make these schemes more efficient.
And when it comes to PPAs, power purchase agreements, how close are we to having a framework that investors can rely on?
I suspect that you read minds, because this was the next thing that I was trying preparing to refer. Here, of course, we have the European legislation and the RED III that clearly encourage member states to find solutions to encourage PPAs. And I was in the European Parliament one of the promoters to have this clear in the legislation. Here, the administrative role of the government is not so clear, because you talk about agreements between private entities. Well, some of the providers, electricity providers, the state is part of the company, like Electrica, but most of the providers are private. Also, most of the big consumers are private companies. So here, clearly, beside implementing European legislation and giving the political and policy signals, we cannot oblige private entities to go to PPAs. But in our dialogue with providers, with the big consumers, we try to push them, of course, respecting the legal limits, to encourage them to use more and more this kind of approach, as this will not only give certainty to investments, make many of the projects more bankable or bankable, but also will provide some stability to the prices. Because beside the fact that we do not have enough production and we need to import for the peak hours, beside the fact that the interconnectivity with the west and north is not enough, and we cannot benefit from some production, cheap production, in some hours, in some days, mainly from the Nordic countries, to import physically. One of the things that, one of the causes that we still experience high prices in Romania, they are not the highest in European Union, not the highest in the world, but it's higher than sometimes the region, and per capita also with the purchase power is very high, is the fact that a lot of the electricity is auctioned on the day-ahead market, which of course leads a little bit to some volatility, also the spiral of increasing the prices, also the European mechanism of marginal cost is intervening, and because of the high cost in coal, all the others are aligning to this. Okay, it's a good incentive for the renewables, for instance, but this cannot continue like this. We need to go a little bit more and more to PPAs and more to bilateral agreements if we want that Romania will have better, more affordable prices and more stable prices. And once again here, okay, if there are examples how the PPAs were better or successful implemented, we are very, very interested, because we see this is one of the solutions, once again, not only to encourage investments in renewables, but also encourage, provide more stability and more affordable prices to electricity in Romania. For standalone batteries, we also provided a session of, in RRF, PNRR, of financing as part of the CAPEX, and we'll prepare for next year a similar scheme, but this time funded from Modernization Fund. And there are also models of not exactly CFDs, but kind of CFDs in Europe for batteries, for standalone batteries, that we can also experience and look more attentively. And once again, if there are ideas, we are ready to look at them. Thank you.
Thank you. I wish I had the power to read minds, but I'm sure the other speakers also want to say a few words about how PPAs are important for your business models. Ioannis, maybe you want to say
Yeah. In the end of the day, all of us sitting here, we are investing a lot of money in order to help the countries that we are participating and we are active to reach the targets. And the target
And also make profit, because it's important and it's normal and it's legitimate.
yes, we are not state, we are not the country. And in order to be done, it has to have the support from the state. Otherwise, we can make policies, we can set targets, we can accept targets, we can have very nice words, but in the end of the day, what you really need in order to be done, it is the private sector to invest a lot of resources, and resources are not only money. Of course, we need some profit out of this, and most of us, if you pay attention in our presentations, we are returning the profit back to the same business. So we are not companies that we are making profit and go somewhere else and have good life. So off-take solution should be one of the principal initiatives in order to support and all of the companies active locally and abroad in order to help Romania to reach the targets. CFDs with extremely low prices that guides the people, the investors to seek potentials, or killing the free market are not always the best. PPAs, yeah, it might not be the best considering, or it's not the directive, but still it is a mechanism that will help. There are other methods that you could, like a state, can support the market in a holistic approach, like the grid operators should be part of the PPAs, should be part of this trade, renewable energy trading mechanism, because in the end of the day, we, like Europe, we put sanctions to whoever imports products from abroad if they don't produce from green resources, and we push back the CO2s that we are importing, but we have to be also the example locally. I think that all of us, we are here and we are committed and believe that Romania has huge potentials. Geopolitically, location, it's amazing. The misfortune of our neighbors in Ukraine, it is a lack, let's say, for Romania to develop faster. And I believe the biggest competitor, it is the time. We don't have time. So every measure that you could bring on the table to support the market from both sides, and consumers and producers and investors, would be a very big help in order to reach these targets.
Thank you. Also, Henrik wanted to add something, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that if we look at this very simply, we need capital and we need offtake to make these projects work. Today in Romania, there is so many projects, and one of the reasons why they're not moving is capital and it's offtake. If we had more liquid offtake options, a lot more of those projects would have been built. And on the CFD scheme itself, I just want to emphasize how good that is for everyone. If you look at the last round, how low those prices went, it's incredible. No one else will get that price for electricity as Opcom is getting through those CFD auctions. So it's good for us because we get bankable projects. It's good for the country because you get cheap electricity. And then the funds needed to raise this CFD fund should go in zero in an efficient market. It shouldn't be money that is being spent. It's security for the auction itself, while over the 15-year tenor, it shouldn't have been spent a dime on subsidizing anything because the prices are already way below what the market price will be. So I'm all for more CFD auctions.
Lăcrămioara, please. If the microphone is working?
Yeah, now it's working. I fully agree with what has been said on CFDs and PPAs and the mere existence of projects. Without any of the two, we can't have projects. And of course, we need capital. We've also participated in CFD in the second round with 2 projects, the ones that will start construction next year. So of course, we found it as a very, very positive signal that Romania has sent out to all the investors that are in Romania or are tempted to enter the country. So that is one thing. Then on the PPAs, we again have 2 success cases. I mentioned briefly Apple. So the contract that we entered last year, that is one success. The first one is actually the largest PPA in Romania to date. The second largest is the one that we concluded with Ahold Delhaize this year, which is for the second project, which is now starting construction. So as you can see, each of our out of the 4 projects we construct or we are going to start construction, each of those projects has either CFD or a PPA. Now, what we still need to happen, to see happen is the green, the certificates of origin, so the GOOs, the guarantees of origin, sorry. Because the assumption we take in all these contracts and business cases we build around the projects to have the bankability reached is the assumption that the guarantees of origin, which are the green attributes around the electricity. Otherwise, you can't demonstrate that the electricity is green in absence of those certificates. So those need to be freely transferable. And then this was the same with the CO2 certificates back some years ago when the EU ETS scheme started. So we need to see this happening. We need Romania to become part of the AIB, which is a plan for 26, 27, as far as we know. Especially, I think the ANRE, the regulator, is playing an important role in this. I'm just raising it because that's the expectation everybody has. Otherwise, all this wave of new PPAs that are being signed will just stop. Will just, change the expectation, and then everything will just, become again a bit of, in a deadlock situation. So that is the number one message I'd like to leave here in the room, and of course with you, Mr. Secretary of State.
Gheorghe, if you want to add something.
Be short, since all the panelists had strong contributions. As you know, in Romania, the installed grid capacity is close to 20 gigawatts. And now, according to Energy Regulator, there are 40 gigawatts on the paper with connection contract. So support schemes like PPA and CFD, they are critical because looking at, for instance, the first 2 CFD schemes, we are already seeing more projects that are reaching financial close, hence the success adoption rate will be higher. So I totally, for instance, applaud the initiative for a third, for instance, CFD scheme, and this will definitely, for instance, help to the further development of the renewable market together with other items like guarantee of origins that other colleagues mentioned rightfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we continue, we are ready now to watch the video message we prepared. Let's take a look.
We are Inca Investments, the investments arm of Inca Group, the largest IKEA retailer. In Romania, we follow the Inca Group ambition to support 100 renewable energy consumption across the IKEA value chain and beyond. In Inca Investments has invested or committed to invest 4.2 billion euros into offshore and onshore wind, solar and battery storage over 19 countries. This includes close to 400 million euros invested in Romania. Globally, we have committed to invest 7.5 billion euros by 2030, producing 15 terawatt-hours in markets relevant to Inca Group and IKEA. Understanding the Romanian government ambitions to transform Romania into a regional energy hub, Inca Investments has a similar approach of energy power hubs, and one of them is Romania. Today, in Romania, we are operating 9 wind farms with the installed capacity of 171 megawatts. We are also constructing a solar park due to be fully operational by the end of 2026, with a total installed capacity of around 300 megawatts. In parallel, we are developing several so-called hybridization projects, adding solar PV and battery storage in our existing wind farms. Those are due to be completed by 2027 and will add more than 96 megawatts of new capacity and requiring more than 50 million euros in investments. We are also advancing the third phase of a solar project with a planned capacity of around 330 megawatts solar and 120 megawatt storage, targeting ready to build later this year. As a long investor, Inca Investments is firmly committed to bringing additional renewable and affordable energy capacities into the system. We look forward to continuing to support Romanian consumers and the industry in their decarbonization efforts.
Let's move now to one of the most pressing issues developers face in Romania, grid connections. This is a topic that affects almost every developer in the room. Lăcrămioara, I know you've recently raised in public this issue of grid connection delays. Can you tell us what are the main challenges your company is facing now?
Yes, indeed, this is probably after the PPA and CFD challenge, which somehow we managed so far and we solved it so far. We need to somehow fix the grid connection for the future projects. So of course, for the projects we're currently building or we are advanced, we're all good. But given that in the market we have 60 gigawatts of projects already, which already received a grid permit or ATR in Romanian. However, they are not all these projects have the capital, have the financing and the bankability, meaning PPA and also or CFD. They cannot proceed. So they are blocking. There are 60 gigawatts, most of it will not get built. Yeah? So my estimate is that it's 10-15% of these projects will be able to see ever the operational phase. And since recently, we've started to add more because we launched. Why did we end up with such a number? Because there was no financial commitment attached to the application for a grid permit. So first comes, first served. This was the logic, the approach taking until this summer. Only this summer we've seen the authorities asking for a financial commitment upon getting an ATR. Excellent, but too late. So we have 60 gigawatts without any financial commitment, mostly blocking the pipeline. And now we have financial commitment. And I have a nice example, easy to understand. We have a project in Botoșani, 50 megawatts, for which we've applied and we have just received the ATR by submitting a 1 million euro financial commitment. What date do you think we got for the grid connection? Not in 3 years, not in 5 years, in 8 years, in 2033. Meaning we have so many projects ahead of us. Who knows how many are going to be built? We need to wait for those to be filtered out before we can have a chance to connect with our project. So the situation we have now, it's actually a huge need to filter out this 60 gigawatt of projects which are blocking, and the upcoming auction system will not solve that issue because the 60 gigawatt have already an ATR, have already a grid permit. They cannot be excluded, or challenged by the new auction system, which will be the solution for the future 10 or 15 or 20 gigawatt of projects. So essentially, what we're coming now with a solution to the authorities, and we expressed that. I also stated in a similar stage last week, and then the president of the regulatory body, ANRE, was also on stage to say, why don't we use the establishment authorization or autorizația de înființare to filter out this 60 gigawatt. by saying when upon issuing that authorization, which is by the time the project is already sort of ready FID or at least with a certain decision, with a certain commitment in the company to finance it by equity or by bank or a combination of debt and equity, you can get that authorization. Otherwise, you don't get it. And the mere fact that now out of the 60 gigawatt, we only have 6-7 gigawatt with authorization, with such an authorization, shows that such an instrument could work. Yeah, and that's something to reflect on and think on how we can get this instrument, this possibility, or maybe there are other possibilities, but with a quick decision, because otherwise we will not get those projects. We will only have the impression we have so many projects in Romania, but the reality will be actually very brutal, that actually the projects that we count on, to reach the strategic targets for energy, like doubling the capacity to be installed according to the national strategy, energy strategy, or the PNIESC, they will not be reached because these projects will actually not come true. And those projects which have a chance, which have financing, we need to wait for those which actually are not bankable. Happy to hear other thoughts.
React shortly on this, very shortly. Well, this is a concern that is also for big, serious investors, but is also a very big concern for the state, for Romanian state, for the Ministry of Energy. Clearly, the fact that the grids are theoretically blocked for projects that will not enter into force, will not become reality. It's a big concern for us. The main interlocutor here should be ANRE, which is an independent body, respecting the European legislation, is under Parliament authority, but of course there is a strong dialogue and cooperation with the Ministry of Energy. For technical reasons, of course, Transelectrica should be in the dialogue also, because most of these projects are dealt by Transelectrica. We also welcomed the idea to have this 5% guarantee to a little bit, but I agree that it's too late. We are looking also to the new system that ANRE is proposing that should start 1st of January next year. I can confess that it's not clear for us also how this will work and then when it will start with the capacity auctioning, and the mapping is not yet ready, at least my knowledge is this. So theoretically it's a good step to free but let's see how it works in practice. It's an interesting idea. We need to look a little bit on this, but everything that we decide cannot go retroactively. And we had also the surprise to see a court obliging Transelectrica, even that after 2 years nothing happened with ATR, because it was agricultural land, very big, almost 1,000 hectares, 1,000 megawatts, but because the Ministry of Agriculture did not approve the transfer that the court said that they should be prolonged the ATR until they solve the problem, because it was not their fault that they couldn't transfer the land. So we can also see some court's decision that are independent. We need to follow that could also interfere in this project, in this process. Sorry. So all ideas should look on these two. First, of course, not retroactive. Second, not to open court cases that then will make a bigger mess to the system. But this idea with it could work.
Henrik, you wanted to add something? Are you facing same challenges?
Yeah, I fully support what is being said, and first of all, this is not something that's unique to Romania. All countries where you have fast renewable growth, this happens. It happens again and again, and it's an inherent part of this, unfortunately. Just to say that we don't see this as the government's fault or any government entity's fault. It's something we need to fix together. And I just want to emphasize that this new ATR auction scheme that is coming out now is very welcomed. I think it's something that is needed, but I think it's super important that all parties sit together and look at this, how it's supposed to be. So us as private companies, the Ministry of Energy, andre, Transelectrica, sit around the table and figure out how can this actually work. Because I'm afraid that we will implement something that is not possible to do in practice. And that's going to delay us even further to get more projects online.
Hopefully these challenges will start to ease soon. And since Romania is becoming more and more mature and in wind and solar, I'd like us to move on to some of the new technologies and opportunities. For example, Romania has just adopted its national strategy, hydrogen strategy. And for example, Gheorghe, I know you have some projects. Please tell us more.
Yes, yeah, we are looking, as said, into the green hydrogen and green ammonia since 2022. The national hydrogen strategy is more than welcome. It's an important milestone that, for instance, different hydrogen valleys are being promoted. However, Romania was quite active into the green hydrogen field since 2023. We were among the first countries that actually enacted a hydrogen law, and this imposed different quotas in, for instance, for the refineries and for the transportation, starting between 2025 and 2030, a bit in connection with the guarantee of origin and some green hydrogen certificates. And there are also a lot of support schemes from the state, different grants from PNRR and Modernization Fund on the green hydrogen and projects, both in CapEx and some of them also in OpEx. But the thing is that already the offtake in electricity is quite challenging. In green hydrogen or green ammonia is even more challenging. So even though there are a lot of projects, for instance, now on the paper in Romania, because also Romania is in the second tier of the potential for the green hydrogen. First, you have like Spain, Portugal, and northern Sweden, and northern Norway, but then Romania is in the second tier. I don't see that a lot of projects will be able to see the daylight in the upcoming 3-4 years, because there is still a huge gap between the cost of the green hydrogen and brown hydrogen, and also in addition, like in green ammonia and brown ammonia. What we did, we looked into a potential different use case for green ammonia, and we identified this potential use in agriculture, and we even discussed, for instance, with different associations, different farmers in Romania. We addressed this with farmers comprising maybe hundreds of thousands of hectares. Their interest is high because EU direction, we are going to implement this CBAM next year, cross-border adjustment mechanism. And also there is this farm-to-fork strategy, EU level, that will be implemented since 2027. So also in the agriculture will be the need for the green fertilizer. But I guess that this is a bit on the medium and long, for instance, term, not in the next, I don't know, 2 or 5 years as we are looking into the renewable market.
And now we have some questions from the audience.
I'm here, the microphone. Please introduce yourself and keep the intervention in 1 minute. Thank you.
My name is Doina Cucubețanu. I am the Vice President of Romanian Exchange Society, the association of the people involved in geothermal energy. And I observed that, unfortunately, with this occasion, we are speaking only about wind, solar, waste to energy, and very, very few about geothermal energy. I want to tell you that we are making this choice without consider, and the geothermal energy remain the Cinderella of renewable, despite the high potential in deep geothermal in Romania because of the situation of the country at the edge of Pannonic area, but not only because there are reserves in the northern part of Bucharest, and despite some significant project they were that were implemented in the last 10 years with atop the largest application in geothermal is in Romania, nearby, in Măgurele, in ILI-NP, which is, as I told you, the largest application in Romania, but in Europe, sorry. But this is due to the initiative of the bottom-up approach on geothermal, and I want to take advantage of the presence of the Secretary of State to inform, probably he knows, but to inform him that Romania has not a strategy in geothermal, but only one page in the national strategy in energy. And a page means a half a page. And I want to offer our expertise because all the neighbor countries have such strategies, and the most ambitious is Hungarian strategy, who set a target to double the geothermal energy in the next 5 years. Romania is also able to do that. Mr. Secretary of State, please remember our offer to cooperate with you for the geothermal strategy. Thank you.
I totally agree and thank you very much. I also mentioned the geothermal potential for district heating. Okay, electricity also in Bihor region, the border with Hungary, north part. Yeah, it's also in the Bihor region, Beiuș. Yeah. But clearly for district heating, we have a huge potential. And please, let's build this strategy.
Thank you for the warning signal. And one more question from the audience, please. Or a comment, maybe. Please, the same request, please introduce yourself.
Hey, Alex Petrascu, Scatec, colleague of Henrik. When are we going to have the third CFD for wind?
It should be by the end of the year. At least the announcement. I will check with colleagues from the policy direction to at least to give an indicative date, as the interest for wind projects that could come there is quite high.
Before taking another question, maybe we can watch another video message we prepared from one of our partners who couldn't be here today.
Thank you, and I think that will be the closing for this session. Thank you very much for the speakers. Thank you, Ștefana. Let's see the film from CJR.
We are leaders in the renewable energy construction sector. We have the power to build the tomorrow. Every day, we take our experience further to build better, to enhance precision, to create excellence, in order to offer turnkey solutions. We are leaders in wind farm construction and wind turbine installation. We are experts in solar energy construction. We take substation installation to the next level. We are creative. We are innovators. We are strong. We are unstoppable. Today, we have a worldwide portfolio with presence in more than 25 countries and 3 continents, with more than 800 employees. We are changing the Earth's face. Through our solutions in all project implementation stages. We are CJR Renewables. And we are building positive energy. Let's build it together. CJR Renewables. Building positive energy.
Thank you all.